What's up, YouTube? This is the Action Figure Grader coming back for what's hopefully a quick video. I got a couple of things I wanted to cover in today's video. First, as promised, once the AFA website came back up, which it did this morning, I wanted to give you the population reports for these three figures that were in my unboxing video a day or two ago. And so I wanted to cover that, and then more importantly, the AFA has updated their pricing for grading figures, and there has been some significant changes, so I wanted to go through that with you for those of you who are considering submitting items or have items in process like I do. And so let's go through, I think first let's cover the population reports. And for those of you who actually view this, all three of you, please add any comments below if I'm saying anything incorrectly here. But the first one that I had some curiosity about was the Vader, the Italian carded transition saber Vader. And so I typed in his AFA serial number, which again, I apologize for the bad camera work here, but that's the serial number. If you go to the AFA's website, you can get what's called a population report, which allows you to know how many other figures have been submitted to the AFA for grading, what those grade breakdowns look like. And so you can just have a general idea of how, quote unquote, rare it is. Now, keep in mind that this is as of so far. So people could submit figures tomorrow, and that changes the population report versus, what it is today. But I did type in that Vader serial number, and this item was graded in 2013. I did verify that it was, an actual graded figure, but there's no population report for it. And so my question to those of you who have a little bit more experience with this than me, what does that mean? Does that mean that this is a population 1, or does that mean that the data just does not go back that far? I don't know the answer to that, but that's a question that I have for anyone else that may know more than I do about the population reports within AFA's website. So it might just be the fact that AFA started doing these population reports fairly recently, and they don't go back all the way back to 2013. So, I mean, it's 5 years ago. It's not that far, but long enough where maybe they don't have the data, or they weren't keeping track of the data back then. But anyway, it did, it let me know that there was an item that was graded in 2013, and that, so it was an actual graded figure, but there's no population report for it. Next, we have the the freeze frame action slide US carded Weequay, and this one was not nearly as rare as I thought it was in the video, in my original unboxing video. According to the population report, there's 87 of these total that have been graded across all the different grades. There was 46 of them that came back as 85s. They do not break down, the population report does not break down between 85 pluses, which is what this is, versus a regular 85. So included in that 46 total figures that have been graded 85, this is one of them. This is an 85 plus, but it doesn't break down 85 versus 85 plus. There are 9 of these total that have graded as a 90. So there's 9 of them that are graded higher than this within AFA's population of graded Weequay freeze frame action slide US carded figures. Wow, that's a mouthful. That's what she said. The final one I wanted to show you is the Boba Fett. And this one is actually, I was surprised to see this, but this is actually the rarest of these three figures that I unboxed recently. So this, again, is the tri-logo. It's got all three, the English, the Spanish, and the French. The tri-logo, Power of the Force 2, Boba Fett. I think the reason that there's such a low population is because this does have the THX insert, paper insert, which you can kind of see there. This insert was only available for a limited time, and it was only on 20 or 21 figures in the Power of the Force 2 line. So I think because of that insert, the population for this figure is low. There was only 3 of them total, and this is one of the 2 85s, 85 graded near mint plus, figures. So there's actually only one other of this graded by AFA in their database. The third one is an AFA 80, so it's lower grade than this. So I was a little surprised to see that, but when I think it through, it makes sense because there's not that many of this particular variant where you have the THX insert card. Obviously, there's a number of different variants of Boba Fett, which I've covered at length already. But because the THX insert is on this card, and it's they were only available on the Tri-Logo cards, that you're basically whittling it down, whittle to a smaller number, and so there's actually only 3 of these that have been graded. So anyway, that's that. I don't want to bore you too much with that stuff, but I did promise that I would give you an update once the AFA website came back. So that is what I've done. I am nothing if not compliant with your demands. I'm going to go ahead and tilt this... Oh, wow, that was not good. I'm going to go ahead and tilt this camera down a little bit, and I know this is really thrilling for you people, but I wanted to highlight a couple of items. This is printed out from the AFA website. They have changed their pricing, and I've highlighted kind of a couple of important points. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, they have moved over to etched style accessory casing, which is a lot more expensive to do. But they've actually increased prices for all of their products. And in all fairness to AFA, they provide a great product, and they have not increased prices in a long time. I don't even remember the last time they've changed prices. So it was probably overdue. And given the fact that they have admitted that they're a little bit of a backlog right now, I'm not that surprised that they've increased prices a little bit. But the first thing I wanted to highlight is if you are a paying member of AFA, where if you pay, there's three different tiers. There's platinum, gold, and silver, and depending on what level you are, that's an annual membership fee. But if you're a member, you get a discount. It used to be that they only had discounts on certain items, but they said note as of now that there's a 20% discount if you're a platinum member. To be a platinum member, I think it's $300 a year. It's very expensive. The gold level, which is what I am, it's 15% off. That costs $200 a year to be a member. And then the silver membership is only $100 a year, but that gives you a 10% discount. The higher tier you are as a member, the faster the turnaround time on items. Even if you submit under the economy tier system, if you are a platinum member, they process it quite a bit faster. So, it's an estimated 2 to 3 months turnaround. Now, it used to be just 2 months, but now it's 2 to 3 months. It's probably going to be on the lower end of that number. Usually when I submit items, I always submit my items under the economy scale just to save some money, since I do typically submit items in bulk, 10 to 20 items at a time. But when they say 2 to 3 months, it's really towards the lower, at least right now for me, it's been towards the lower end of that. They've always promised a 2 month window previously. Now they're saying 2 to 3 months. In actuality, in reality, it's always been about kind of two months and a week. So, let's call it 9 weeks for their turnaround time. But more importantly, the pricing has changed. So for a standard size action figure, this is on the modern scale. So items made after now it's 2000 to present. It used to be 1995 to present. So I just noticed that as well. So they've moved back the year for items in terms of. They've moved up the year in terms of the manufacturing date, in terms of what they consider modern versus vintage. So it used to be 1995, now it's 2000. I just now noticed that. But anyway, for modern figures, the tier price is now $25. That is before any discounts. So with let's say you have a silver level membership, you get $2.50 off of that pricing. That's still higher than what it used to be. It used to be $20 for the tier pricing. So they've moved up prices just a little bit, and 10% or so. And then for oversized figures like Black Series figures, that number has gone up a lot as well. That used to be $25. Now it's $31. So, again, it's not a major difference. You're talking about a 10% price increase, but, there's going to be some people who, like me, who are going to be directly affected in our wallets, because I submit items, usually I submit items in bulk, just to save money on shipping. It's expensive to ship these figures, and I might as well do them in big bulk. So how I typically operate, just not that you care, but I typically, go on a buying spree for a month or 2 or 3 and just stack them up in star cases at my office or at my house, much to my wife's chagrin, and then I submit them all at once. So you saw in my very first ever video, I had a lot of 13 that I just submitted, and unfortunately, it's going to be at these new prices. But that's okay. I feel like I've gotten a good deal on given that I'm a gold member, I get 15% off. So I'm not sweating the price difference. You're probably talking maybe a total increase for me of $50 or so for the next shipment. But the other thing I wanted to point out is with standard scale grading for unopened toy packages. This is for items now made for pre-2000. That price has gone up as well. It used to be $35. Now it's $40. Again, you do get still get a discount on those prices if you are a member. But that price number that number has changed. It used to be $35. And for standard items, mailers, the prices, they've gone up slightly. I don't do a lot of mailer stuff, so I don't really know about that. But I did want to confirm with you that the domestic shipping, this is for domestic since I am local, but domestic shipping and handling has not changed. So, you can see the price. This is why I typically submit in bulk, but there's a pretty significant price difference depending on how many items you submit. So I usually fall in that kind of 11 to 20, either between 11 and 15 or the 16 to 24, just because there's such a significant savings in cost when you ship. So, I guess it's not that big of a difference, but it's big enough that, it saves me the shipping savings for me saves, the cost for grading at least a figure or so. So anyway, sorry about the awful camera, but I wanted to at least share that information with you guys. I'm going to move this back just a little bit so we end this on a high note, hopefully. But I did want to at least share with you the grading information or the pricing information that's changed on the AFA website. They've changed the turnaround times. They've changed the date for what they consider modern versus vintage. So there's quite a bit that's been going on over at AFA. Obviously, they moved over to the etch cases like we talked about. And then while I was at it, I figured I'd do the population report update. So again, terrible camera work on my part, but I at least wanted to share some information with you. And I hope you enjoyed. Talk to you soon.